for the comedy or improv driving school.
Yeah.
And one of the things I remember them telling you about is that if you're on marijuana, the way the police can tell if you're on marijuana, actually the symptoms are very similar to somebody that's very tired when they're driving.
Yeah.
Is they're really slow.
That's right, they're speaking slow. But that is not grounds for the arrest or citation of an individual. If they break no vehicle code laws, there is no specific test other than an invasive test to tell you're on marijuana. You can't take a breathalyzer, it doesn't show. You can't take a smell test because it's, basically people do the same thing. The kids, when they don't want to know you're smoking, they sit there and spray stuff and it doesn't smell in the mouth. No, you can basically go, it doesn't smell.
See, and part of it is if it makes you slower. If you were somebody that was really fast before, really, really hyper, yours being slower could be like everybody else's normal.
Yeah, and you can't let people drive in that condition. It's illegal to drive while you've been drinking. You can test people for driving and drinking. You can't test people for smoking marijuana and driving. There's a guy can fly, okay. No one wanted, I heard last night, will you accept, because you support this, will you accept responsibility for the first time a pilot that is on marijuana flies his plane into the ground because he's happy and thinks he's higher up than what he is?
Or would you like a surgeon to operate on you for open heart surgery?
Yeah, you want to,
nobody,
well, it's personal responsibility. People that shout personal responsibility are the ones that say that we shouldn't, the government should basically be in charge of everything, and there's no personal responsibility until they want to get something passed that they can't get passed, and they don't want to be held responsibility. They don't want to be held responsible for the accident. So then personal responsibility comes into effect. I've been around. I've been, like I said, on this cruddy earth for eight decades. That was a long time, and I have never seen people, wanting to get high as much as the people in California do at the moment. And people, the majority of the people in my state are over the age of 60. The majority are senior citizens. You know that they are not advocating people going out and being high. Because, they know what one senior, okay, I have to go to adult driving school to be able to get a driver's license because they don't trust people my age to drive without having to go take classes every couple of years.
Well, that's because I remember they really came down on that after that guy came through the farmer's market, and then a week later, or was it? No, I was a week before, where an 80-year-old guy rear-ended me 4 times.
Yeah, well, she was talking. She had her little earpiece on and was talking to me on her cell phone at that time, and I'm listening. Actually, I was with my family in a shopping center, and she yelled so loud that over my earpiece, everybody could hear in the area that she screamed about being hit, and the guy kept hitting her. That's how it is when you're going to be on marijuana, folks. They're not going to know what they're doing, and they can't be held responsible under the law. Because if it's not illegal to use it, then there's no count. There are no criminal penalties basically in the thing. Now their excuse is, well, they shouldn't be doing it.
Well, that is not.
I know they shouldn't be doing it. Isn't that something? Basically, alcohol. They ask, well, people drink alcohol, and they get away with it. Well, no, they don't get away with it. People go to jail. We got a guy. We got people that kill people every day in automobiles that are drunk. They don't get away with it. But people that are going to smoke marijuana are going to get away with it because there's no law about it. None. Because you can't basically make an example of them in California once the law is passed and keep the law intact. See? You're basically giving people on marijuana free rein to do anything they want to do, because if they go after the people, they have to go after the law. They go after the law, it's going to get tossed out. So there'll be no going after. They're going to say the police officers are going to be told, ignore people that are waving in and out of traffic that look like they're high.
What?
That's what a guy said last night. He said, we're already being told to ignore it because it's a no-win for us in court, because they don't bring cases against people on marijuana now because the judges refuse to try the cases.
Well, That's, oh.
Yeah.
Because they endanger the lives of other people.
They don't care. They don't care. The people that support marijuana are basically selfish individuals. You know, well, I have to have marijuana for my back pain. Oh God, I've got back pain. I don't take marijuana. I don't know of anybody my age that takes marijuana for their back pain. There are two things. One, you learn to live with it until you go to a doctor, and a doctor helps. But then you think, well, we're going to get marijuana cheaper. No, you're not. First of all, if you're going to grow it, you're going to grow the 25 square foot. Marijuana is not a simple thing to grow. Okay, we're going to try it this way.
Oh, it's not?
My family grew hemp plants because my father was in westerns. I did westerns. My father liked to make hemp ropes.
So he grew hemp plants?
He grew hemp plants.
Well, isn't that a marijuana plant?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's marijuana. But, it is not, it is a very labor-intensive and an expensive thing to do, but a good hemp rope is god-awful expensive. So he would grow this stuff. I mean, Woody Harrelson makes clothes and stuff out of hemp things.
See, you can just smoke your clothes.
We have seen the hemp clothes, but they're god-awful expensive. The hemp is not marijuana.
I think it's a little, like, it's too scratchy.
Yeah, it's too scratchy.
Not really soft.
But the problem comes, it is a labor-intensive, expensive thing to do for 25 square foot. It isn't, you just don't do it and put it out. The stupid plants also draw bugs like you can't believe, which means, okay, what happens is a lot of people have problems with marijuana that basically too much pesticide has been put on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it tends to kill them when they inhale the stuff.
Oh.
And there's
That's
also,
not good.
and if you basically you can process marijuana into a higher form of drug, folks.
You can?
Yeah.
What?
Basically, well, basically it pushes towards morphine, it pushes towards other things. It's basically.
What's the one made out of poppies?
That's opium. That's heroin.
Poppies aren't illegal, are they?
Poppy
They grow in
seeds
the
are
wild.
illegal.
But the flowers are.
Basically, okay. Everybody can grow, it's a poppy pod. It's a simple thing, if you ever watch the thing, they just grow the poppy pods, they send a squirt of poppy pods. It basically, they milk the poppy pods, dry it out, and that's heroin, folks. But you can basically reprocess marijuana into a bigger, more powerful drug. That's a bigger sedative. And the bigger the sedative, the more dangerous it is. Basically, people probably don't know Pandora's box. Pandora's box, when they open Pandora's box, they spread the ills of the world. You know, all the diseases, everything been locked up in a box. I mean, I find, if you take something if you do something stupid, I don't drink and drive.
Well,
I don't smoke and drive.
Part of it is I'm thinking about other countries around the world with marijuana. I think of Amsterdam.
Amsterdam is one hell of a problem. I mean, Amsterdam became there parts of Amsterdam you don't go into in broad daylight because of the stuff that they allow to happen.
Oh, really?
Basically,
I know you could buy the marijuana brownies at the.
Oh yeah, but it is
all over the place.
They try to make, okay, look at Cheech and Chong movies, folks, if you want to see a result of marijuana being used.
Why?
Because these guys are spaced out and have accidents and they don't know what's going on.
Oh, that's marijuana? I thought it was just their act.
That's marijuana. Basically, that is their act because they're all stoned. I mean...
oh, well, man.
And basically, it's basically, they say, I love this, I mean, Geraldo Rivera, there are no statistics out there that shows marijuana is dangerous. Just since I was a kid, I mean, my father would come by to schools and talk to you about all this. We're talking way back in the olden days. He'd come by to school and do in his Gestapo uniform, his helmet, his boots, and his gloves. They actually had big gloves on those days that came up to here, and then they'd fold them over and they'd take their notes out and they'd give you the speech about it. And then they show, I mean, we're talking, back in my day, it was actually 60mm films they'd run. Okay. They show you the results of people, marijuana.
Because marijuana is a drug.
It's a drug, and it's going to be an unregulated drug.
Oh, maybe that's the scariest part.
I know, and basically, it is a huge sedative. You shouldn't be able to get it without, okay, a big problem is that you can go like Venice Beach and just pick it up. There are doctors in the house.
Yeah, you walk down the street and they have the sign, doctor in the house,
basically,
medical marijuana.
They sell you less than an ounce because, you know,
hey, we should go over there and see what they'll do.
yeah, that's how they get it. They go by and then police officers sit out front and arrest people.
No, I didn't say go buy it, just to see what it was like.
Well, yeah, but you have to buy if you go in. That's the whole process. You know, so, but they're going to, it's not regulated. They say, well, we'll be able to regulate the sell. Well, no, they're not going to regulate the sell. They're going to put taxes on it. But they're not going to put taxes on it until they can figure out how to tax it. They don't know yet.
Well, see, part of it with marijuana is the process, I think, because basically all you have to do is dry the leaves, right?
Yeah.
Whereas all those other drugs, there's a process and it's much more complicated.
I know, but
so it makes it hard.
The problem with the other things is the cocoa bean grows wild. You can grow fields of poppy and not worry about it. Marijuana is not an easy thing to grow.
It sounds like it should be like you just grow the plant at home and then you dry out the leaves.
You can grow the plant at home and dry out the leaves, but the problem is the growing. Marijuana attracts bugs, folks. You've got to have the system. You just can't put it in the dirt and grow it. It is not it is a labor intensive. That's why they have a marijuana school. They tell you how to do it.
Do they really?
Yeah. They have a school of how to do it, but it is labor intensive.
But isn't it easier to do that than, say, some of the other drugs?
No.
Oh.
But it is labor. The other drugs come from nature. Marijuana doesn't. You have to grow specifically marijuana.
Oh, you do?
Whereas all you got to do with poppy seeds is to throw the things out, and you have labor come by and just score the pods. And then they just come by and collect the stuff. But marijuana has to be cultivated. It has to be watered. It has to be fertilized. The other stuff does not have to be cultivated, watered. You'd let the nature take its course. All you do is come and harvest. Harvest and produce. Harvest and produce. That's virtually all the drugs in existence. You know, it's when you get beyond the initial stages when you're processing to get more stuff. I mean, there's opium, there's heroin, you know, there's morphine, and basically as you move up the chain, as you process, you start out with something difficult to begin with and think you're going to be, you know, well, they said when people find out it's not as easy as they think it is, they won't do it. No, but then they'll just buy the stuff. The city of Oakland has said they want to be the marijuana capital of the United States.
Oh, they did?
They're already licensing huge areas, indoor buildings, to be, you know, vacant buildings where floor after floor will be, basically we're talking, they're going to have
vacant commercial real estate properties.
Hydroponics is going to raise the cost of it. You think it's expensive for the stuff that they grow out in the woods? Wait till you think you find out the cost of the stuff. It's cheaper. You're going to find out that the smuggled in stuff is cheaper than the stuff you're going to be buying.
Oh yeah, because you're doing it through hydroponics and special.
And the government's going to put taxes on it just exactly like they do cigarettes when they get it done. You're going to look like, you know...
you mean those $5 packs of cigarettes?
Those $5 packs of cigarettes will probably be $40, $50 for a pack of marijuana. And people will buy them. Why would they buy them? Because the people my age say don't do it. Because it's dumb. And because they know that for a while they're going to get away with anything they want. And, you know, and then here's the trick is that getting, okay, right now I think they make $100 million a year in taxes off of the medical marijuana.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't realize that.
That's what it is. Is $1 billion worth the life of one person? Is $2 billion worth the life of a person? Is $3 billion worth? How many little kids whose life will be destroyed because their parents got killed using marijuana?
Either using it or somebody else was.
And they'll say, well, we can use that same talk about alcohol. Well, yeah, but alcohol has been regulated for god-awful long time.
Yeah.
It's basically got a track record. Basically, everybody knows that alcohol is a no-no, but you're telling everybody that marijuana isn't.
Well, yeah, because